Alright folks, how you doing? Welcome back to Tribe of Judah. And we're going on with part 2 now of History of the Scottish People, 1560 to 1830, from when Scotland was Jewish. Disclaimer, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use. So undisciplined. So they were normally too illiterate even to write their own names. They were frequently so undisciplined that they no longer even bothered to live within the nunnery precincts. They took their tone from a hierarchy where appointments had for many years been made on purely political grounds. This does sound rather familiar, all things considered. Look at the state of American politics. King James IV. James IV had set the pace by making his illegitimate son Archbishop of St. Andrews. The Protestant Reformation was embraced readily by the merchants, burgesses, and educated members of Scottish society. He attributes this to the emphasis the new doctrine placed on a direct relationship to God. An alternative church. He alludes also to the presence of a secret church amongst this segment of the population. Protestant numbers snowballed. By 1559, there was already an alternative church existing in many parts of Scotland, awaiting some revolutionary stroke to bring it to power. Protestantism succeeded by taking the right strategic bastions in society. Craft and merchant guilds. It succeeded in the boroughs where the traditions of secrecy and cooperation among members of craft guilds and merchant guilds, and of cooperation between the burgesses of different towns acting in their common interest, made towns the ideal environment to sustain a secret and cellular church. The corrupt Catholic Church. Contrary to Smout's arguments, it would have not been in the financial or political interest of this very same group to support the overthrow of the prevailing corrupt Catholic Church as a social institution. It was these very people who were benefiting already from the Roman Church. The arrival of converso Jews. The crypto-Jewish society we propose was present in Scotland since 1100, had been strengthened enormously during the previous 5 decades by the arrival of thousands of converso Jews fleeing the Spanish Inquisition. Crypto-Jewish practice was now poised to transform itself into Protestantism. The Burgh-Based Scots economy. Smout describes the robustness even of the Burgh-based Scots economy, with each borough acting as a self-governing unit, electing its own burgesses and monitoring apprenticeships for both merchants and craftsmen. Scotland became an active international trade centre. From Aberdeen. So from Aberdeen, Scotland traded as far eastward as Russia, Poland, and the Baltic, while from Glasgow and Edinburgh she traded south and west to England, France, Spain, the Americas, and the Caribbean. Primary export products were wool, hides, fish, paper, coal, salt, and linen. That's why all the major cities in Scotland are either on a coast or on a river. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in part 3.